Hey there, sheepdoggers, and welcome to another Blood Bowl tips and tricks video. This is a video that actually it's going out on the. No, actually, I'm putting out my Skaven video. Sorry, I thought I was putting it out on the same day as my latest dwarf video. It's a dwarf. That'll be out tomorrow. It's basically a video where I get destroyed. And it's more yeah, people in the chat were just laughing so hard and enjoying it so much. I assume you guys will enjoy it too. It was the worst luck I've ever had. Almost. I'm sure I've had worse luck, but still. Anyway, we're gonna talk about dwarf teams today. So I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how to be a dwarf coach, or how to start being a dwarf coach. And I've got a perfect game for you that happened earlier. I was Skaven and I was playing against a dwarf team. And you could say I had bad luck, but I won the game. So we'll check that out soon. Now here is kind of team value 1300 dwarf team. It's not perfect. I'm not amazing at dwarves, but you can have a look. You see, we got this guy here with strip ball. I probably should have gone with guard, but I went with strip ball. We got blitzer here with pro. It means rerolls. Pro is very useful on dwarves, FYI. Dwarves rely heavily on rerolls. This runner here has kickoff return, which means during the kickoff you can move after the ball is kicked to you. You can move 3 squares, which again is really useful for dwarves, especially for a dwarf runner who's going to be picking up the ball. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We also have this this guy right here, Loco, who has dodge because he got doubles. Always funny on a dwarf to get doubles and go, oh, actually, yeah, dodge. So yeah, let's go in here and let's kind of create a first team. Now, talking about dwarfs first, let's just make a random random tween, like so. Oh, there we go. Our Guaro, you know, has to be said. Sometimes, guys, it has to be said. So anyway. No, don't buy up my team. So yeah, let's talk about the dwarves first. First of all, they're very slow. They have low movement. You can see 4 movement there on the lineman. 3 strength, 2 agility. So they're not agile either. You're not going to be dodging them. You're not going to be using these guys to pick up the ball. And they're incredibly dangerous to teams like Skaven. So Skaven will get to know your weaknesses and they will exploit them. And that's what I do as a Skaven. You know, I ain't gonna sit around and try and, you know, knock you guys on the ground very often. It'll be an occasional blitz, and it'll be trying to stay out of your tackle zones, try and slow you down, try and wait for the weakness, try and wait for the opportunity when you fumble the ball. Now, the other thing about them is if you do knock them down, if you go against another bashy team, like, say, Orcs, if they knock down a whole load of your dwarves will be able to move a lot less further. You know, like, unless they had jump up, which, you know, for the most part I wouldn't advise. You know, the furthest movement you have is a 6. You've got 2 runners maximum, so the furthest you've got is 2 people who can move 6. I think that's the same as the orc lineman. You know, you got the sure hands, but I'd say dwarves a minimum of 3 rerolls. Like, in general, a minimum of 3 rerolls is where you want to go. And like I did actually play against a guy who only had 1 reroll, and he was so lucky, it was unbelievable. Like, in the first half, he actually didn't use the reroll, even though he threw with a runner to a Longbeard with agility too. You know, sometimes you just get lucky and you can get away with that stuff. I wouldn't advise it because, you know, Blood Bowl is all about minimizing your all about minimizing the amount of risks you need to take. And with one reroll or 0 rerolls or even 2 rerolls, you know, the number of risks you're going to have to take once you lose those rerolls are just going to increase and increase. Anyway, yeah, they're very slow. They're not strong. You know, like aside from the Death Roller, which again I'm going to advise you not to take to begin with, they all have Strength 3. You know, there's no big strength. So when you go up against an Orc team, for example, you'll be smacked on your arse a lot, even though you got block, because they've got 4 Strength 4s, and you know, maybe even a Troll if they're being dumb about it. And that's what your Troll Slayer is for. We'll talk about that soon. And they benefit from sticking together. Now, I'll talk about it more later as we're watching the game, but you wanna be a sticky team. You wanna stick together. You don't wanna spread out. You want to create. You basically want to create a sticky pitch, which is basically you get their ball carrier on the ground, and you just get all around the ball. You make it impossible for them to pick up that ball, and then you start bashing them down. You start injuring them until either you can pick up the ball or there aren't enough of their players to be a threat. Now with Skaven, we'll talk about Skaven specifically, because as a Dwarf player, Elves and Skaven will be your main problem. Especially if they get lucky and you don't get many injuries on them. And yeah, the other problem is the ability to kind of you'll get very often screwed over by trying to cover the whole pitch, trying to take opportunities when you can. You know, you can't do that. You have to stick them all together. So even though this runner has movement allowance 6, on the offense, when you have the ball, you'll be moving with these slow players, because, you know, otherwise you'll lose the ball and the ball will get down the other side of the pitch, and then suddenly you're outnumbered on the other side of the pitch. So the benefits of the Dwarves is it's very hard to lose players. You know, with this thick skull here, so if you roll of 8 on the injury table, you're stunned instead of KO'd. So you're less likely to be KO'd recently. You're less likely to be KO'd, really. However, you can still be outnumbered on a pitch, because if you concentrate on the right side of the pitch, then suddenly the ball gets taken over to the left side of the pitch through passing and stuff like that. You suddenly find yourself with all of your guys on the wrong side. Some of them are down. You know, it can take you 2 turns to get back. And again, if you go too far forward on the pitch, you're going to find yourself in a very bad position, because they'll just go deep, especially elves. Like when the elves come out, if you haven't played Blood Bowl 1, you'll see what I mean. The elves will dodge your arse. They'll just dodge all the way through you. And you'll hate them because you only have 1 blitz, and they'll have like 3 receivers in your half every time, and they'll just keep throwing it over your heads, dodging out of your tackle zones and getting touchdowns. And you can only take 1 of them down to stop it. So we're going to talk about starting. Now, obviously there are many different types of starting options. You've got, for example, 5 Longbeards. Those are the lineman types. There we go. You've got 2 runners, 2 blitzers, and 2 slayers, and then a couple of rerolls and an apothecary. Or you can put in like some fan factor or something like that. Then you've got 9 Longbeards, 1 runner, 1 blitzer, 3 rerolls, and you know, something else. It's hard to say, but yeah. Kind of I'd say that's a fairly bashy team. Now, what I'd probably go for myself is I'd go 7 Longbeards, 2 runners, 2 blitzers, and 2 blitzers, and 3 rerolls, and a apothecary. So we'll do that quickly. 7, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, There you go. One thing you can do, by the way, guys, and I'm going to mention this in another video, I'll do for basic starting and etc. Oh, I only have 40,000. Okay, well, the apothecary isn't that important. We'll put, I think 1, 2, 1, 2, so like that. There we go. So these things kind of, again, I'll talk about them in another video. I'm assuming you know if you're looking for, like, specific tactics, kind of more, they're still more starter tactics, more like tips and tricks and stuff, but still, like these can help your kick off things, which can be good for dwarves, because as dwarves you need all the help you can get with rerolls and stuff like that. So we'll do that. There you go. So that's a fairly decent one. You can kind of obviously play around with it. My advice is to make a team, immediately go to staff, get 3 rerolls. As a dwarf team, you don't have to get that apothecary. You know, you may regret it if you're unlucky. You know, you may lose a player, you may get a kind of a really bad stat reduction, but you don't need it, because dwarves are probably the most sturdy team in Blood Bowl. You know, they're the least likely to get any injuries or deaths or anything, but it can still happen. So what we're going to do here, now that I've talked about how to set up your dwarf team, is I'm going to show you what can happen to a dwarf team. So here's my horrific disasters. You can see in my history, these are all the matches I've played so far. 1-1, 3-1, 2-3, that was a loss. 1-0, 1-0, I think that was a loss and that was a win. 4-0 win, 2-0 win, 4-0 win. That's an Orc team. That's another Orc team. And this is a 2-0 against a Dwarf team. Now you can see here 12 armor breaks. You know, no touchdowns, no deaths, no passes, no interceptions, no expulsions. You know, they got their MVP. You can see in the statistics here, you know, injury there, injury there, injury there. I'm not sure. I think those were those 3 injuries? Maybe. But you can see in the statistics, ball possession was about equal. Occupation of our own half, like he was always in my half. Occupation of opponents, I was always in his. The one successful pass, one successful catch. You know, 68 blocks, 3 KOs, 6 casualties, 1 kill. For me, 28 blocks succeeded. But 86 yard running, 8 yards passing, you know, all this stuff. And you'll see in the replay exactly what I'm talking about how dwarves, like, because the type of people, especially the new type of people who choose dwarves, are looking to punch something. And that's fair enough. Like, you know, the dwarves are a bashy team. They're a sticky team, you know. If you get your ball carrier into a cage, it's going to be very difficult for anything but another bashy team to break that cage. I've turned the commentary off, so the standard Blood Bowl commentators aren't going to be talking, just so that I don't get interrupted, and you know we can kind of go with it. Now, I played this match earlier today on Twitch, and I'm very glad I did, because you know, people are always saying, like, you know, how bad Skaven are and how dwarves will destroy them, and that's not untrue. Like, and you're going to assume that I'm always using my Rat Ogre because I want, you know, because I need it. It's also, again, it's not really that true. Like, for myself, when I go on offense, when I go attacking, I tend to pull back the Rat Ogre and take him off the pitch for someone else. Now, you can see this guy has, you know, he's got block, thick skull, tackle. I think, yeah, he's got mighty blow there, so that's more damages, and he's got piling on, which again, mighty blow piling on is going to do damage. And then there's a few more. You see, you got Dauntless, and this guy Dauntless and Frenzy, so it's going to be dangerous at the edges for me with 2 Ogre Troll Slayers. You got another Mighty Blow. This guy's got minus strength. This guy has kick, so he can kick. But yeah, you can see everything he's taken is very much aimed at being injury based. You know, the dwarf team is an injury based dwarf team. Now, technically, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, don't get me wrong. Like gearing a dwarf team towards injuries is great. It's perfectly fine. And you can see I started here. And basically what I wanted to do here was I wanted to basically make a hole for my gutter runners to run through back here. And this is the first thing I'm really going to talk about for you guys, is you do not want this lineup against a Skaven. Granted, he got lucky here. The fact that he has these guys with tackle negating my gutter runners dodge means that I don't want to take the risk and run my guys through here because it will be a turnover. So I have to act a bit more defensively. But having said that, and also I've got more guys in tackle zones than I'd like. Having said that, and having moved everyone, I was like, okay, I'll take my guys out of the tackle zones, less likely to get thumped by dwarves. Unfortunately, first one was a fail. Do I use my reroll? Hell no, I don't use my reroll. You don't want to be using your reroll on that. You'll just be like, yeah, it's a lineman. Who cares? It's a turnover. It's not like I was going to be hitting them anyway. I was just going to try to move the other two out. And there's no need to reroll for that. And then you see, like, kind of typical dwarf tactic, piling on Mighty Blow. He's going for that injury on my gutter runner. Not a bad idea. Using a blitz, using a piling on. It basically means that he's increasing the chance. I mean, you can see the rolls down here. Armor roll failure, piling on failure. It happens. But the dwarves are very much limited by the fact that they only have one blitz. So against, especially against elf teams, when elf teams start coming out, you're going to see a massive decrease in people playing dwarves because they cannot handle elves. Even at the beginning sometimes, and the elves, as long as the elf player is good, he'll stay out of the tackle zones, and he'll be screwed basically. And you can see here I'm trying to get rid of this guy with better dice luck. I even used a reroll for it. With better dice luck, I would have been, I would have knocked him on his ass, and I would have been out down here already with at least 2 of my Skaven. Fortunately, it didn't happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen. You got to change your plan. But you can see here these dwarves are so far forward. And I will admit, I get unlucky. I get a little bit. I get pretty unlucky at the beginning. There's someone falling over, going for it. It's a very dwarfish thing. He manages to get back, but you can see again, he's going for my gutter runners. Not a bad idea, but he has even just getting up, like getting up from like here. He has to really go for it to be able to do anything really. So you're going to see some bashing, you're going to see some stuff like this. But if I get through this line, which, trust me, isn't the hardest thing to do as a Skaven player, a little bit more luck, and I'd already be through this line. If I was through this line, I mean, look at it. This is always annoying, this bit, because it delays me from doing what I want to do. But yeah, look at this. Like, if I was up here, he would now be unable to get to my gutter runners. This gutter runner here has look how far he can move. He's like, squares behind them, and he can get to the touchdown if he wants to. This blitzer here is one of their faster players. He can get nowhere near that. Even the runner, who's the furthest back, can't get to here. So I would be safe there completely, and I can do a running line across here. Okay, this was where I got unfortunate. I had to use a reroll on that. I had this blitz here on his runner. You know, I only got a push, and then you know, I kind of went for it up this way, but I couldn't do my going for it. If this was a gutter runner, if this was something else, you know, I'd have a much better opportunity. And you know, you can see what I mean. Like this open area, you know, if one of my gutter runners was a bit further up now, you know, again, I've got more gutter runners in my team now. It's an option for me to go in any kind of corner. Oh, here we go. Here's a great example. You know, just dodging through that bit there, and now that guy's kind of taken out of it, as it were. You know, there's always ways around it. So yeah, like the danger here is, you know, all I did was dodge away from that guy. You know, this guy here, I dodged away from him. You can see how far I've gotten away from him now. And this is the problem with dwarves, is it's too tempting to do this wall, to do this massive line of just implacable dwarves, where you can just go, this guy's screwed, he's never getting through. But that's the thing about Skaven, that's the thing about elves, is they're dodgy, is they're runny. Again, really good luck there. If it had been an open ball, I would have probably been able to pick it up, probably been able to deal with it somehow, and kept going, got a touchdown quicker. You know, that one pickup right there probably set me back a touchdown. So, you know, not to you can see here I'm playing against Pionard, but not to diminish Pionard's efforts. But I very much could have probably got another touchdown in this way. Now, one of the reasons, and this is just a little bit extra in case you ever want to play a Skaven team. I'm going to talk about this again. You know, I talk about this on occasion, but the reason I don't use my Rat Ogre in a fence is because you want to use blitzes on more than one people. Yeah, again, look here. Like, I want to knock him down, I get double skulls. Reroll. You know, I have to use another reroll. I'm already down to one. Unfortunate, unlucky, shit happens, you know? I've still got my gutter runner. You can see here, like, he had to use up his dodge going there. Again, like, you know, he failed his dodge. Stuff happens, but you know, in a different circumstance. I know the circumstance was different, but in a different circumstance, he could have been up here and away. You know, the dwarves are going to have to use going for it to get there and all that kind of stuff. So again, this is why you need to be so careful. This is why you have to be so careful against the Skaven team, because they can, and any agility team, because they can outrun you, they can outdistance you, and if you're not careful, if you don't protect your ball thrower, they can get a 2 dice on you, they can knock you down. You know, your runners don't have block, so there you go. And that's something especially new dwarf players don't think about. You know, they see a win as kind of destroying an enemy team. You know, if you get a whole load of injuries, you know, we haven't got any yet. We've got a knockout. We haven't got any injuries yet. There are a lot. But you'll see what I mean when I say, like, you know, it doesn't take many rats to mess you up. And there we go. And then, you know, again, all I need to do is get some dodging going on. And there's the dodge fail. Reroll. Probably going to work, right? Nope. But anyway, what you want to be doing as the dwarves is you want to be centered around the ball, or you want to be like owning the area where the ball is. You know, you want to take that ball, you want to get it forward quickly. There's the death. I decided to ignore that because basically, you know, if someone's going to die, you know, it'll be my storm vermin or my gutter runners, and I want to keep them with their skills, you know. An agility for storm vermin. You prefer to keep that dude, you know. Anyway. yeah, you want to keep yourself around the ball, because if you get too far away from the majority of your dwarves, you're literally just gonna be over. You know, again, I can just blitz this guy. You know, even if you knock me down, even if you injure some of my players, it's not gonna be enough to completely take me out of the game enough to stop me from scoring, unless you've got a cage on. You know, Dwarf is the epitome of a team that needs cage. You know, I said this before at the beginning when I was talking. You have to get that cage in. If you don't get that cage, then your runner without block is in the open. He's ripe for a Skaven blitz. And you'll see what I mean here. You know, I've got my agility 4 guy. I'll bring him down this way. You know, you've got 4 dwarf here, you've got 4 dwarf here, and you've got your runner. Well, you've got 5 dwarf here, I guess. So all I need to do is I need to free up this guy. I did that with a 2 dice block. See my blitzer? Like, you see, like, him getting up and getting to here. No going for it. Down he goes. Again, another runner smacked down. I think nearly all of my blocks, aside from the ones that are absolutely necessary to get a decent, you know, to do a little bit of maneuvering, were against... Again, unfortunately, that's going to happen with your gutter runners if they fail their dodge against someone's tackle. But it was a risk I had to take. Now you see, like, what he should do here is he should surround this ball. Again, he should just go in, like, not worry about trying to take down my Skaven. He should worry about stopping me from getting anywhere near that ball again. Again, smashed hand, miss next game, not a problem. It's just a line man. KO, again, you know, KO's fine. It happens a lot in a Skaven team. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Skaven left on the pitch. Drop the ball. So again, this is why you need to surround the ball. And, like, to be fair to him, he has surrounded the ball to a certain extent. Right here, I've got no rerolls, but I do have my agility for Storm Vermin. Go in, fail to pick up the ball, fail to pick up the ball. But now, at least, you know, it's out of the way. Now, as a Dwarf player, what I'd advise again in this situation, obviously you're going to have to knock some heads. You know, they're like, that's just kind of a given here. You know, you're going to have to punch some Skaven to get it out of the way. But what you most definitely want to do is you want to surround this ball. Yeah, every time you surround the ball, you protect it. When you have the opportunity to get the ball to kind of, you know, keep them out of the way, you surround that ball as much as possible, as opposed to beating down on Skaven. So, like here, I'd say if you miss a block, but you have a guy free, you take him away and you surround that ball. Like, that dude there would have been better off served coming down this way as opposed to going in after these Skaven. You know, kind of adding an extra. And again, with Dwarves, as long as you have at least a couple of rerolls left, you are, and even if you don't, you are perfectly fine 1 dice blocking. Because there's only 1 dice that's bad for you as a Dwarf, and that's the skull. So you can 1 dice block. You can definitely 1 dice block. You know, again, he probably shouldn't have followed that. He should have come down here, added a bit more in here. Because you see, what I did, well, as you're going to see what I did, is I got my guys out of tackle zones. And I was like, right, well, I'll leave my guys down. I'll give him a turn. He can't score anyway. You know, I've delayed him enough that he can't score this turn. I didn't have much hope for the rest of the game because, you know, I was down Skaven. You know, got a lot of people out, like knocked out. We've got a couple of people injured. You know, one half. We've got 1 dead, 1 injured, 2 knocked out. You know, it's not a great start for me. 3 injured. No long-term effect. Perfect. That's what Skaven like to see. They don't mind seeing their guys injured. No long-term effect. That's fine. He went for a pass for a little extra SPP. It failed. You know, dwarves. Don't run a passing game on dwarves. I mean, obviously, like, he was just doing it for a little extra SPP and etc. But I'm saying in general, don't run a passing game. Don't run, like, even a running game. Really, you cage up. You get that you get that 1 half touchdown, and you hope for a turnover so you can get another half touchdown, or at least stop the other team from getting another touchdown. You know, you win 1-0. You win 1-0. Maybe after a time, you increase the skills of your dwarves and get a bit more. You know, possibly win 2-0 occasionally, possibly even 3-0, the pipe dream. But for the most part, you're going to be on 1-0s a lot of the time, or 1-0s. You know, expect to draw or lose a lot with dwarves. Again, especially when the agility teams start coming out, like the elves. And, you know, again, you see here, like, you know, the dwarves are strong, the dwarves are scary in their own way, but at the same time, they don't have any strength 4s. There is a death roller, but that thing's a secret weapon. And the problem with secret weapons is, and you'll see it in this half, you know what the score is 2-0 to me. You'll see how quickly, you know, a Skaven team can score if they want. And, you know, even against a dwarf team who's running a wall, a dwarf team who's trying to pen them in with superior numbers. And again, they get 3 rerolls in this game. It's a little bit ridiculous and annoying to see, because, you know, one of the things you want to do against a dwarf team, and one of the things you want to consider when you're a dwarf team, is you want to get rid of their rerolls. You know, you want them to have as few rerolls as possible so they keep fumbling the ball. It's called the Dwarf Juggle. The Dwarf Juggle is literally trying to pick up a ball. You know, like, you look at this agility, it's 50% picking up a ball. Like, you can watch a dwarf team at the back there, after you've injured their runners, after all they've got left are blitzers and are troll slayers and longbeards, just trying to pick up that bloody ball, and it's hilarious. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the big mistake that he made here. You see me, I'm all like, you know, I'm all kind of penned in here. I got no chance to kind of, you know, they've got this massive dwarf wall against me, like, kind of all in the way and trying to pen me in. You know, it's not laying me out this side and all that kind of thing. So this is a very bad idea as a dwarf team. Like, in theory, it seems great. You know, in theory, what you've got here is you've got trapped Skaven who are just going to get their asses kicked. But then again, you know, I've got a rat ogre with which to break out, and then I've got guys who can dodge. You know, this guy here, he doesn't have tackle. He can't negate the gutter runner's tackle. So all I have to do is run them through one tackle zone to be on his. There you go, to be on his runner. And his runner's only got 2 strength. I could blitz him now with a gutter runner. And take him, you know, gutter runner, I think it's this gutter runner has dodge block. So if I'd have done it the other way around, I could actually blitz him with my spare gutter runner. You know, again, if I hadn't done that with the rat ogre, I could blitz him with my spare gutter runner and do a 2 dice block, and then maybe pick up a ball as well. So you'll see as we go, you know, he gets me off his runner who's got the ball. Fair enough, you know, that's what you need to do. He's used his blitz, and now he's run into the center, and now he's kind of trying to block me off here. Now what he should do, And what my advice would be to cage. Again, cage and work down the center. You know, push these guys out of the way, smack them about. Maybe try and stay away from the rat ogre, but still, you've got those troll slayers. You can do it. You know, you can mess them up. Again, injury, that's fine, not a problem. It's just a lineman. It's just a line rat. Again, single dice block isn't a problem. Dwarf, 5 rerolls. You know, all signs indicate that I am screwed in this game. You know, I'm down to... I've got 4 rats injured, 1 KO'd. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left on the pitch. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the pitch? No, he must have 11 on the pitch. I'm counting wrong and badly. So again, I get him in a situation where I'm on his ball carrier. And, you know, basically just laying the groundworks in case he fumbles, in case something happens. I've got a gutter runner up there who can do something. I'm moving my rat ogre in to take advantage of the fact that the rat ogre is quite strong. You know, even though, yeah, I put him up on a troll slayer. I got him in there so that he's taking up 3 dwarves. You know, again, there's a dwarf over here by himself. There's a dwarf over here by himself. Dwarf over here by himself. You know, I'm using my Skaven, my spare Skaven, to basically hold up dwarves, to waste their turn, to, you know, like, yeah, maybe I'll get injuries and stuff, but the likelihood is I won't get so many injuries that I will lose my entire team. And that's what I'm looking for, basically. So he's going to blitz this guy with his Troll Slayer. Down he goes. So he has here, well, this turn, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more turns. What, you know, he shouldn't be in a rush to go anywhere. He's used up a lot of his goes, but what you should probably do, you know, bring this guy back, cage in here. Yeah, move this guy. I mean, yeah, what he should have done is he should have caged up here, really. He's got more dwarves there, you know, up and about. He's got more defense there against Skaven shenanigans. Because all I really need to do is get a block on him. And, you know, I've got to reroll. This guy here has he's already in base-to-base contact with this guy. So this guy here can just blitz right there. 1 dice. Oh, sorry, 2 dice because that guy's got low strength. And there's the ball. Now this guy's this guy here is agility 4. So dodging. It's worth, you know, I've still got a reroll. It's worth a reroll shot. It's worth a try at rerolling. Give it a throw. It failed, unfortunately. You know, but it's worth a shot to get the ball up the other end. Now consider if I'd made that throw. You can see here how many dwarves here. You can see here as well how far they can move. You know, even if they're not down, like this guy here for... Okay, well, just give me a sec. Come on now. There we go. So you can see here, you know, if that throw had gone up here, he's got dwarves in base-to-base contact with other Skaven. The only way they're getting out of that is smacking them one. This dwarf here... Okay, well, just come on now. I need to show the movement range of these dwarves to hammer my point home, man. So this dwarf here, you know, he's free, but he can only just reach that gutter runner now. You know, if the ball had gone up that way, and again, you know, he needs to pick up the ball, otherwise I'm going to go for it. But at the same time, you know, the agility is such that it's just a turnover, even with a reroll. Unfortunately, he didn't get up, but, you know, cancel all those tackle zones. You know, I've got dodgers, I've got people who can help me out. I've got rerolls to pick up. Again, it's a 50% pickup chance, but I make it, and I'm Skaven. Throw, dodge, touchdown. And okay, let's say for example, he brought out his death roller on his, you know, when he gets his ball, when he is on offense. You consider the fact that this is halfway through the match. He's just lost his death roller, his only character that has more than 3 strength. You know, disregarding the Dauntless on the Troll Slayers. So, you know, he'd have just lost his big guy, which is why I never advise you to get the Death Roller. Not until, like, the 13th or 14th player, at least. Okay, so, yep. Again, you know, you can see, like, the problem with this setup is if I can break through here, he's got very little to protect himself. And there's a third reroll, by the way. How annoying is that? So yeah, it's his go. He's got smack. So it's his roll. He's got guys going. That is just so ridiculous and funny. It makes me laugh. Just that piling on animation for the dwarves. It's another KO. How many people do I have left? Well, I've got 1 down, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 versus 11 right now. And yeah, you know, like this is the thing I always see people say is like, oh my god, you know, I lost 4 Skaven, you know, I got 4 Skaven injured, I got 2 KO'd. You know, there's no way to win against a dwarf team like this. And this is the real area where the problem with dwarves gets highlighted. This move here, basically what he does, and it's not in theory a terrible idea. You know, he kind of he makes a little cage around my Skaven. You know, because I bunched my Skaven up. The automatic kind of thought is, hey, you know, let's make sure they can't get out. You know, then the ball carrier will be safe. In fact, what happens, and you'll see what happens here. But yeah, also he's down, you know, Ratogor, obviously. You know, what happens here is I get a 2 dice block on this guy because, you know, he's base-to-base contact, push him away, obviously also follow him up, and now there's a gap. I can also go around that way, you know, I can also go around that way, but the gap's there, you know, he doesn't have tackle there. That's a way to get my Skaven out this way. I've got this storm. Sorry, there you go. I've got this agility 4 guy. 1 dodge. You know, I can use a reroll if I need to. He doesn't have block. He's down. Pick up the ball. That was a stroke of luck. Just run this way. And now you look at this point. You have this guy here. You have this guy here. Those are the only guys, really, who can respond to that threat. You know, so by spreading out his dwarves like that, by keeping them away from the ball, and, you know, running the ball down one side, he's got, you know, he's used his blitz. There's no other chance to get him down. You know, now he's got to start taking chances with no rerolls. He's got to try and free his guys. He's got to try and do whatever he can, basically, to stop me from dodging out of this bit here and getting a touchdown. And the other thing you'll see is that, you know, as a Skaven, yeah, see, that was a 33% dodge with no reroll. You know, he was trying desperately to get guys, you know, to stop me from doing this, which you'll see what I do now. You know, so I had the option, I could dodge and then pass, right? But the Skaven are so slow that the easier thing to do, take away their tackle zones, get a 2 dice here, either push him away or knock him down. You know, even if I pushed him to there, I still have a better dodge than I did before. So I blitz, knock him down, run, you know, like, I think even there, he didn't have a chance of catching me. Like, let's have a look. Yeah, pretty much didn't have a chance of catching me. You know, at this point, none of these dwarves can stop me from scoring a touchdown, or even, you know, get to my tackle zone. You know, there's no way to blitz me. There's no way to even get to my tackle zone with going for it. So that's 2-0, and it's turn 14. You know, like the dwarves have no chance. Like, even a Skaven probably have no chance to get 2 touchdowns, or even 1. You know, so like, yes, it is true that he got SPP. You know, he got star player points. But he hasn't done anything to, you know, I've been saving my apothecary. You can see here, I still have my apothecary. Every time, you know, I lost a Skaven, one died, and another one, oh, this is great. Like, he re-rolled so he could push my guy off, and I decided not to use dodge. So it was like, do you want to use dodge or not? And I was like, no dodge. So I just got knocked over, and he couldn't crowd surf my gutter runner. So yeah, you know, there you go, guys. This is the reason I showed you this instead of like a game where I was playing as dwarves and won, is because as dwarves, it's not important to learn how to beat a team. It's important to learn how not to lose. And, you know, a game like this is a perfect example. You know, he beat the crap out of me. I didn't even KO anyone as far as I can remember. I think maybe one guy on his team got KO'd, but I don't think so. But the fact of the matter is, I still won 2-0. I still got a whole load of SPP on my strong Skaven characters, you know, on my agility, on my agility Storm Vermin, on my gutter runners. You know, I made enough money for another gutter runner. And the fact of the matter is, you know, I didn't, except for when it was necessary, I didn't engage him in the bashy game, in the fight. So he ended up, you know, while he ended up with like injuries and that, you know, next time I play this team, or next time I play another dwarf team, I've got 3 gutter runners to run around the dwarves. You know, I've got my Storm Vermin. I actually managed to get a double on Hurricane there, and he now has Claw. Which, if you know the game, you'll know that with Claw, all you need to do with Claw is actually to all you need to do with Claw is roll an 8+ regardless of armor value. So on this Longbeard here, you need a 10+ on 2d6 to break armor and to roll an injury roll. With the Hurricane now, with Claw, all he needs to do is roll an 8+ when he knocks down a dwarf, regardless of which dwarf it is, to get an armor break and to get an injury roll. Speaking of injuries, there goes Plague. No long-term effect, he's fine. Like, literally, that was my reaction while I was playing this game. I was like, oh, another injury roll, that's fine. That's not a problem. Like, you know, it's just the lineman. You can see here, like, lineman. There you go. Drought, dead. I re-rolled this because, well, why not? You know, it was the end. It was the last turn. I was like, yeah, lose armor value, sure, not a problem. I didn't want to completely. I didn't want to completely, you know, lose 2 guys and have to spend a bit more money. I wanted to buy another gutter runner. You You know, he was really hoping to kill Avalanche, because Avalanche is terrifying. You know, he's got sprint, which means 3 squares of going for it. He's got movement allowance +1. Interestingly enough, after this game, after the game after this, I think, I leveled him up again, and he got another movement allowance. Unfortunately, you're not allowed a level movement allowance, but it was hilarious at the time in the stream. And yeah, I actually ended up giving him sure feet, which means, you know, automatic re-roll of going for it. So that's scary, especially as like a dwarf team. That's a scary gutter to come up against. And you'll see this is the final bit. It's not really cogent, you know. I've explained what I need to explain, I feel, about the dwarf team. You know, I think you get my point. Like, this is what you want to see here. Obviously more around the ball, but you just want all of your guys around the ball. You need to make sure the ball doesn't move far, to the best of your ability. Whoopsie doozy. Oh. I think he got niggling injury, adds 1 to any subsequent injury roll, and he used his apothecary. The result of the apothecary was dead, so he decided to take the niggling injury. Sorry about that, Pianard. It was a good game, mate, and, you know, again, you didn't do the worst, you know, like, it was just some basic things that dwarf players always forget, which is, you know, it's not just about the bashing. You have to try and score touchdowns. And when stuff like this happens, where, you know, you get like split up, and then the Skaven just slip through, score 2 touchdowns, you know. I mean, he got SPP. You can see here he got, you know, injuries. He got injuries. You know, he got a little bit of leveling up and everything. Well, you know, a little bit of leveling up and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it still does mean I won 2-0. You know, and you look at this and you go, yeah, like, the Skaven team won. They got 1 dead. They got a couple of injuries. I think I got 1 miss next match, and that was pretty much it. You know, it wasn't that detrimental to my team to lose those players. It helped the dwarf team get some SPP and you know, levels and that, but I still won 2-0, and I got a lot of nice star player points myself on my strong players. So yeah, there you go, guys. Like, for a little added bonus, you can see my star players. Hurricane with his claw. When an opponent is knocked down by this player during a block, any armor roll of 8 or more after modifications automatically breaks armor. Now, if you consider I can level this guy up again, and I'm actually very close to doing so, I can give him Mighty Blow. And what Mighty Blow does is it adds 1 to every injury roll. So a Storm Vermin with Claw and Mighty Blow needs a 7+ to break armor, and adds +1 to the subsequent injury roll that you take to see what you do to the guy. I was playing against an Orc team. My next match was against an Orc team here, and you can see in the statistics, 4 KOs, 3 casualties, you know, and yeah, we won 4-0, and you can see how much SPP I got off that as well. Damn, it was a hell of a game, and he didn't play badly at all. You know, he's this was with Bio, Sleeping Bio, and he plays really well. He plays very carefully. He plays like a dwarf. He plays like a Blood Bowl player. You know, where he's like, even if he doesn't think he's going to get the ball, you know, even if I've almost done a touchdown, he still makes sure to have as many blocks as he can. He makes sure to follow it up so I don't delay and all this stuff. So, you know, yeah. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's dwarves, and more importantly, how not to lose as dwarves. You know, like, after you've watched this video, take that away. If you want to play dwarves, consider very much what type of team you want to make. Are you happy losing but getting injuries? You know, because if you're happy losing but getting injuries, you have no guarantee. You know, like if you're playing dwarves and you go up against an orc team, you go up against a human team, you can knock them down all day and not be guaranteed injuries. It's all about the rolls. Yeah, sure, you can do your best to get lots of knockdowns and lots of armor break rolls, but it doesn't mean you're going to get injuries. Whereas if you get a couple of touchdowns on a few of your players, then at least you know, you not only get the win, you not only get that extra bit of money for another reroll, which is the first thing you should get, in my opinion, is another reroll. Also, dwarf reroll is quite cheap. Let's do, yeah, that reminded me. Let's do this quickly. So your next reroll. No, we'll go over here. There we go. So your next reroll on your dwarf team is 100,000. That's cheap for rerolls. So, you know, you can get to your fourth reroll with 100,000. So a couple of wins will get you well on the way to a much safer team. You know, you can even risk trying to pick up with agility too. So there you go, guys. That is Dwarfs Blood Bowl 2. They're not my favourites. They can be fun for a couple of games to just bash a team in. But in my own personal opinion, you don't have that much length. You don't have that much life until they're getting run over by all the other teams. However, you know, they are viable, especially if you like their style of play. So do give them a thought, do give them a try, and most importantly, I hope this gave you some ideas, I hope this gave you some help, and I hope these videos in general, where I'm giving you like general tips and hints, you know, something to kickstart your brain and say, hey, I'd like to try these guys. I hope they're helping. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.